Now I want to move on to your representation of Suge Knight. Tom Mesareau is representing Suge Knight. In case you don't know about this particular case, it involves Cat Williams is a co-defendant, and he has pled guilty, not guilty, I'm sorry. Prosecutors claim that he gunned his truck engine and intentionally mowed down former gang member Claybone Sloan and businessman Terry Carter in Compton, California. Carter, 55, died of his injuries, and apparently what has been written is that reported is that Knight and Sloan had a verbal disagreement on the set of the NWA biopic Straight Outta Compton. So let me ask you, there was recently a bail hearing to try to get the bail lowered. There's a number of issues that are being involved in this case. Frankly, let me just actually talk to everybody one more thing. There's a number of issues going on here. We know that Mr. Knight has complained of having some health issues. He passed out at one of the hearings, and Mr. Mesareau has made a number of motions that I want to talk about today that have been filed. One of them was an attempt to get the bail lowered so that Mr. Knight could get out of jail. But I also wanted to, so let me just talk to you a little bit about the bail hearing and how do you think your motions were received in terms of the bail, also in terms of medical care for Mr. Knight, and do you think that that this was just the beginning of proceedings and that you're going to be back again to try to see if you can get him to be released pending trial?
Well, I'm not going to give out all the aspects of our defense. That's for a trial. I'll talk about things that have been publicly stated. First of all, before I was representing Mr. Knight, originally there was no bail. Then he was given $25 million bail. It was then reduced to $10 million. I tried to get it reduced below $10 million, and I was unsuccessful in doing that. In the process of making my argument, I tried to convince the court that there's a lot to Mr. Knight that nobody really focuses on. First of all, he never was jumped into a gang, okay? To get into a gang, you have to be jumped in. He wasn't. He grew up in the streets of Compton. Things were rough, no question about that. Big man like him, if you weren't willing to fight, you could be picked on. But he never was in a gang. He focused on his studies and he focused on athletics. He was a good student. He was a star athlete. He went to the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. He graduated. He has a college degree. He had excellent grades in business. He was a star athlete, and he played professional football. When his career ended as a professional football player, he turned his sights on business and became one of the most successful businessmen in the world. Very creative, very bright, very enterprising, and hardworking. Now, the media likes to focus on sort of the gangster image,
which he created.
Well, he profited from that. I mean,
yeah.
he was an innovator. And there was a study recently that said that rap music has probably had a more significant effect on the music business than the Beatles, which I was surprised to read, but it's really true. It's taken over the world. So there's a lot to this man that the media hasn't focused on. And you can't just look at him the way the media does. I've gotten to know him.
Yeah, I get what you're saying about the media, but you have to acknowledge that he created an image that would sell his product, and it was a very successful image, and now he's trying to uncreate that image.
No. I mean, as I said in open court, if I'd been driving that truck, they'd be giving me a medal. Because this man was ambushed by gang members on a rough part of Compton. He was lured there. He was alone. He didn't have a weapon. He didn't have anyone assisting him. He was in the truck. He was assaulted while he was in the truck. Just look at the tape. This person runs to the truck, starts punching him in the face, tries to grab the shift in the truck, and he is surrounded by gang members with weapons. Now, why they would charge him in this case, I have no idea, but we're getting witnesses who are going to come forward and say exactly what happened. Mr. Knight, if he has to testify, will. He's not afraid to, and I think he'd be an excellent witness. And he's going to explain why he fled for his life. And I think we're going to walk right out of there.
Did he, there's also the issue, though, of him pulling forward and backing up, and that depending on who looks at the tape, they have a different interpretation, and that you think is just they're seeing what they want to see?
If a bunch of Crips and Bloods with guns came after you, how would you be driving? You'd be driving for your life. You'd back up, you'd go forward, you'd do whatever it took to save your life. That's all he did.
Okay, and in terms of his health, well, so are you trying to make it clear to people that that this image that he helped to create, even if we give him just 50% of the responsibility of the business image, because a lot of people in the rap business try to create a sort of mythical kind of been there, done that kind of character when they're trying to sell, give themselves credibility in
But
that
a lot of
business.
this is cartoon-like. It's the entertainment industry. He was promoting an image for his company, an image for the music that he revolutionized. And he was very successful at it. But we're here to show the truth in the courtroom. The courtroom is not an advertising campaign. It's where the truth gets sifted out. And I have no doubt we're going to walk out of there because he's absolutely innocent. All he did was trying to defend himself.